Go.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Growth by Shawn podcast. I'm here with the love of my entire life, Maya Allen. Yep. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm Maya Allen,
Yep.
and
Clearly.
yeah,
That's it.
I'm
That's it.
chilling.
If you have ever been in Maya's presence, you just know what love feels like. That's it. That's literally it. That's literally it. So,
Aw, that's
Maya,
so
in
sweet.
like I would love to, we can get into a little bit about you, but I think the easiest gateway and segue into a conversation is for you to just tell me and everyone that's listening what love is to you.
Wow, this is already so beautiful. Thank you so much. Love is everything. Love is why we're here.
Okay.
Love is the definition and the purpose of life. And I truly believe that we were all created out of unconditional love. And so I've been on this journey of coming back home to myself. And in that, I recognize that that means I'm coming back to love and remembering love. And in that, me being the fullest expression of me is a reminder and a reflection for others to remember that love within themselves as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all just reminders. We're all reflections. And I don't know if you've heard the song A Reminder by Trevor Hall.
Mm-mm.
Oh, yes. That song
Okay.
is exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And our love that we share with others and just our fullest expression, again, is a reminder for others to tap into that as well. Because we are all extensions of the same source of unconditional love. And that's again why I feel like we're all here, is to share love and experience love. And it's our true essence is love. So
Okay. When you talk about remembering and coming back to yourself, can you just expand on that a little bit more?
yeah, totally, totally. So I believe that we come into this earth as the purest, fullest expression of ourselves. As a baby, we don't give a fuck. We're just like out there screaming, crying, like full expression, right? We don't care. And we know, like, we're kind of our purest. And I feel like that's why so many people love babies, because they just have this, like, they're just a pure soul, right? They're completely pure. And along the way, we add all of these layers through trauma and through these experiences we go through as human. We all go through experiences and traumas that lead us to adding on these layers and these beliefs that kind of cover up that natural essence, that truth, right? That light that we came into the earth as, that pure expression of love. And along the way, we get covered up by just all of these layers, and it gets dimmed. That light gets dimmed quite a bit. And in my own journey and experience, for most of my life, my light was completely dimmed. I was just this molded expression of myself. I wasn't the fullest expression of myself. I hid my expression. I hid my emotions. I suppressed everything because I didn't feel like it was safe to express. I didn't feel like it was accepted to express. And that all came down to me wanting to be loved and accepted, right? I felt that in order for me to be loved and accepted, I had to change who I was. And that actually led me way further away from myself and experiencing love and acceptance, because I was withholding that from myself and the world. And yeah, I had to hit rock bottom pretty hard in order to recognize that truth and sit with that truth. And that's when I had started this journey of coming back home to myself, was hitting rock bottom and recognizing that I wasn't being me. I was actually doing the complete opposite. And my light had been completely dimmed for most of my life. And yeah, that journey has just been, it's an ongoing journey that I feel lasts, your whole life, just
Mm-hmm.
continuing to peel back these layers and continuing to let your light and your love shine brighter and brighter. And again, through this journey, I've recognized that that light and love has been there this whole time. It's just a matter of me remembering the love and light from within. It's not me obtaining a love and light or something outside of me and like bringing it inside. It was already there. It was just a matter of me letting go of these layers that were covering it up in the first place. And yeah, so
Yeah.
that's
All of these layers, all of these external circumstances that were making you cover up. Do you want to expand on some of them and go into some of them and why you felt you really had to hide yourself?
yeah, 100%, 100%. So I was bullied pretty heavily as a kid. And, you know, again, we all just want to feel loved, accepted, worthy,
Mhm.
welcomed, etc. Right? Those are our core desires and needs as humans. And so for me to be a young kid and show up to school and feel the complete opposite of that, right, by the classmates and by these words that were said and things of that nature, it really instilled in me all of these beliefs about myself that, okay, well, I can't be this way. I can't be the fullest expression me. This isn't good enough. So I started to create all of these narratives and beliefs about myself, adding on these layers. And I started to mold into what I thought was acceptable or was lovable. So I started to try and mirror and like absorb other people's behaviors and other people's, yeah, just ways of being,
Mhm.
so that I could fit in.
Mm.
And this actually again led me way further away from that. And I actually just ended up isolating myself because I realized that doesn't work. Nobody truly is attracted or feels like they can relate to inauthenticity, like not being authentic.
Mhm.
It naturally kind of repels people away. Like it's very clear when somebody's being inauthentic, right?
Mhm.
And for most of my life, I was inauthentic and I was kind of just this mold. And so not only was I pushing away my own self love and acceptance, but I was putting up all of these walls around my heart from letting love and life into and these deep connections. I wouldn't allow people to see me fully. I wouldn't allow people to come close to me. I wouldn't have intimate, like close relationships because I was too afraid of being seen and heard for who I truly am. And so I hid, I ran, I created all of these protection mechanisms that led me to never having depthful connections. And even with my partners growing up, it was like when I got to high school, I still like I wouldn't even have eye contact with them. It was very hard for me to be intimate because I was so afraid of being seen. And I didn't feel deserving of love. I didn't feel worthy of love. And so I would constantly try and sabotage the love that I was receiving as well. And yeah, these are kind of the layers that I'm talking about when it
Mhm.
comes to, and I feel like we all have our own, but at the end of the day, they're kind of similar too. Like based on the conversations I've had with clients and friends and just other people, it's like it all comes down to this under underlying feeling of not being enough to
Mhm.
some degree, right? That fullest expression that you came into the earth as, somewhere along the way, you started to believe that that just wasn't enough. And so you tried to change in order for it to be, or you isolated yourself entirely, or started to, yeah, for me, I got to a place where I was literally suicidal because I didn't think that I could ever be enough. And so there's a lot of different ways that we can just continue to add these walls and protection mechanisms and layers that are covering up our authentic expression and preventing us from truly living and loving. You know what I mean?
There are all these layers and external factors that are all projected onto you and you have absorbed them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was it that made you look inward? Was there that breakthrough moment? Was there a series of events that led up to that awakening, enlightenment in a sense where you had to look at like what was in that external world and actually look at what was in your internal world creating it?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had hit a pretty deep rock bottom at, I
Mhm.
believe it was 18 years old. And I was really deep in an eating disorder at the time where I was super low body fat, low weight, and I felt my heart stopping one night in bed. And I had gotten to this point where I didn't care. I was like, well, if I die, like, whatever. And there was just something that came over me and through me, which I believe was God,
Mm-hmm.
spirit, source coming through and just being like, what the fuck are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not what you've wanted. You've been wanting love. You've been wanting acceptance. You can give that to yourself. And I just kind of in that moment of like almost feeling like I was going to die and just being at this complete rock bottom in my journey of just like hating myself, not being any ounce of me. I was so far away from me and loving me that I just felt like I was stuck forever and it was never going to get better. And I really just like was able to zoom out in that rock bottom and be like, what the hell? Like I have been doing the complete opposite of what I've been wanting to do. And I've been literally harming myself for the
Mm-hmm.
last several years. And all I've ever wanted was love. And so from there, that's when I started to choose to recover from my eating disorder and really start to dive into that. And as I started to recover from my eating disorders, I naturally started to heal in these other ways as well. And I started to expand my mind and started to learn about holistic health. And then from there, it just got deeper and deeper and deeper into my healing journey through mind, body, soul, a full mind, body, soul transformation,
Mm-hmm.
as I just continued to deepen and getting to know myself. But it took me hitting rock bottom pretty hard in order for that to kind of shift and for me to be like, whoa, wait a second, what am
Mm-hmm.
I doing? Because when we're so deep in it, we're so zoomed into it, it's our entire identity to suffer and to be in pain. We don't know anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to continue to try and strengthen this identity over and over and over again. And sometimes that identity really has to slap us in the face for us to realize, whoa, wait, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to suffer anymore. And it was just simply that choice of, I don't want to suffer anymore, that
Mm.
turned my entire life around.
When you start to speak, was this your first instance where did you grow up in a religious household or anything like that? What was God before this had happened, and what did God become after this for you?
100%. So my relationship with God has really evolved over the course of this journey. And I did grow up as a Christian and really like following the Christian beliefs and principles and things like that. And I went to private schools, like private Christian schools. And so that was really instilled in me at a really young age. And that was all I knew. And I kind of saw God as like this man in the sky who judges us. And it was like this scary thing for most of my life. So it kind of pushed me away. And I would claim that I like believed in God and all these things, but it wasn't like a knowing and it didn't really
Mm.
feel true. It just felt like something that was like given to me, like these beliefs that were given to me that didn't feel fully in resonance with me. And so I never really had a relationship with God growing up. And that was really what I feel also made it very hard for me to recover from my eating disorder and what kind of led me to just losing myself even further. Because I believe that our relationship with God and ourselves is just hand in hand,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we are an extension of God.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that connecting with yourself, you're connecting with the divine because you are an extension of the divine. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was just so disconnected from myself that of course I was going to be disconnected from God as well, right? And I remember too, like as I was really deep in it and I was really just going through it, I would always blame God too and be like,
Mm.
why is this happening to me? Why, like, if God was good, like, why would all of these things happen to me? And like, why would I, I always felt like life was happening to me. Like I was in
Mm-hmm.
that very victim mentality. And even as I started to recover, I still had all of these old beliefs and I still like, it was very hard for me to like fully surrender and like tap into my divinity and my spirituality. And so I started to like go to church again and I started to read the Bible again. And I still just never felt fully connected to it. I still felt that underlying fear of God. And it was like something that I had always just pushed away. And it honestly wasn't until I sat with psychedelics and that really just opened my entire mind and really helped me tap into my divinity.
Mm.
My first psychedelic experience was mushrooms. And I just
Okay.
remember in that experience, I just felt this overwhelming presence of like, I am always protected. I am always guided. And I was able to like zoom out on my life and be like, whoa, like this was all on purpose. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything that's happened up to this point has been for me, not to me.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a few years after me deciding like, I don't want to suffer anymore. It's a couple years in, and that was when I started my actual true relationship with God. I started to realize after that as well, I was like, I just need to focus in on my individual relationship with God, not all of this noise, because there's so many religions and philosophies and ways of going about it and other people's beliefs just kind of thrown around, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just need to focus on my individual connection with myself and the divine. And so that's what I started to do. Then as I started to go deeper and deeper into that, and it just started to expand more and more the more I went in on myself and continued to heal and peel back these layers and do this deeper inner work. It was like naturally my relationship with God strengthened as well, more and more and more. And I continued to see the purpose and the divinity and the synchronicities and the miracles that were all around. And it wasn't until last year I sat with ayahuasca that completely just opened me up in this entirely new way to God. And recognizing that God has been within me all along and that I truly am an extension of God. And I was really able to zoom out on almost like the grid of life and
Mm-hmm.
just see how we are all interconnected and we are all one. And this oneness is pure unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
And so that shifted everything for me because I had always believed that God was like a man in the sky again. And I was like, God is literally everything. God is an energy of
Mm-hmm.
pure unconditional love that is just flowing through all of us. It's what keeps this earth turning. It's what literally leads us to breathe and have life force. It's an energy force, like source that we're all sourced from. And to tap into that is just miraculous when you start to remember that it's within you and that it's all around you. It's like you can't not feel it. You can't not see it in everything that you do and everything you experience. It's literally everything and everywhere all at once.
Mm-hmm. When I
And
Yep,
yeah.
continue.
No, I'm done.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Here's the thing about like talking with you. I can just feel this as every single time that I have interacted with you, this energy continues to build up inside of me. Like uh, this crazy amount of energy where I'm just super, super fulfilled and super present because I'm so like connected to like this exact moment of what you are saying. And
Mm.
um when I look at that, what was it about the plant medicine though that created that space for you to go deeper? Like, do you think that without it you would be able to reach the, I'll call it, level of consciousness that you're at?
Mm. That's a good question. That's a super good question because obviously, like, my awakening, the catalyst of that was the plant medicine. However, I've also done practices and modalities and just like sitting with myself after the fact. And it's
Mm-hmm.
been like, whoa, wait, these modalities and just even sitting with yourself and being in pure solitude can be just as powerful as plant medicine. And what I'm realizing more and more, and something that my higher self has just continually like channeled through me over and over again, has been you are the medicine.
Mm.
What plant medicine really helps us do is cultivate the present moment. It really brings us into the present
Mm-hmm.
and also can allow us to go in to ourself deeper, right? Because it dissolves the ego a little bit. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing that's holding us back from true love is our ego,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our ego is the only thing that kind of creates the veil, and it is essential. Our ego is our friend. It helps us build patterns and build habits and can really be helpful with like discipline and things of that nature. And it protects us. And there's a reason why we have fear too, to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
It's an emotion. However, it's also the only thing holding us back is our human
Mm-hmm.
mind. And so that's what I found psychedelics to do for me is like be able to quiet the mind, quiet the ego, and tap into the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, and there's tons of other ways you can do that though. Like, you don't need anything. You can just sit with yourself in meditation and solitude and just allow stillness. And that can be just as powerful for people. It's
Mm-hmm.
not an essential thing for people to use plant medicine. It's just a tool, it's just a guide, and it can be a quicker way to expand and go inwards even deeper. And so, I found meditation, breath work, which are literally just you with yourself and
Mm-hmm.
your breath, to be just as powerful of modalities. And yeah, so does that answer your question?
Yeah. Why do you think that so many of us look for something outside of ourselves for the answer?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we just all, on a collective level, have this mistrust, like
Mm-hmm.
this lack of trust in ourselves. And this was also something that from just my religious background was kind of instilled in me as well, right? Because of that separation from God.
Mm-hmm.
And again, when you recognize God is within you, the divine is within you, you are an extension of God. If you're not trusting yourself, you're not trusting God. If you're not trusting God, you're not trusting yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so again, when you kind of, I feel like it kind of comes back to that connection to your divine nature, to your divinity, because when you do that, you recognize that that intuition that you're feeling is God, is your
Mm.
higher self, is this, nudge from the divine being like, do this. This is what your heart and your soul are saying right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've lost touch with that, I feel like, as a society, our intuition and our ability to tap into our heart space and actually follow our heart. It's very much so mind oriented, which again is the only thing that kind of disconnects us from the divine is when we're identified with our mind, with our ego. And when we're identified with our thoughts and only our thoughts are always going to like want to keep us the same.
Mm-hmm.
And that's its main, like our ego really just wants to keep us the same. That's what feels safe to it. We would rather choose a familiar hell than an unfamiliar heaven
Mm-hmm.
over and over again. And so when you're so identified with the mind, of course it's gonna, because there's gonna be all of these patterns that keep repeating themselves, and they keep instilling this, like, let's say you're stuck in a lot of these unhealthy habits or like just
Mm-hmm.
unhealthy way of living or way of being. You start to build this mistrust in yourself over time because you keep feeling like, well, this is always what happens. This is always how my life goes. I always am this way. This is just the way it is, right? You start to create all these beliefs. And around that, this becomes an identity. And then you
Mm-hmm.
start to identify so hard with that it disconnects you. It's all you can see are these thoughts and these identities and these narratives, right? That
Mm-hmm.
becomes the focus. So zoomed into it. Whereas when we tap into our heart space, into our divinity, into our soul, we can quiet all of that noise and kind of come back to just this inner knowing and this inner peace. I always say that like the quieter we get, the louder our heart and our soul gets, right? And God gets.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're able to quiet that noise and just truly tap into your body, into your heart space, and allow that truth through, you can start to build that trust with yourself. But first, you have to actually listen,
Mm-hmm.
to actually sit with yourself. And that's what people are so afraid of, you know?
Correct me if I'm wrong here. Are you, I would say that you're a very extroverted person.
Yes.
Okay. How do you find that peace and time to sit just with yourself? Like, how did that first come about, and how do you instill it now?
Yeah, 100%. That's a good question. I it's essential for me to
Hmm.
have time like first thing in my day before I start my day to sit with myself and to realign my energy and to take care of myself first
Hmm.
because I am such a loving and nurturing and extroverted person that I just love giving and like,
Mm.
like
Hmm.
just giving, giving, giving.
Hmm.
And it's such a essential thing for me to have that time and make that time. It's a priority for me. And that is something I'm navigating too between because I do get charged with social things. I
Hmm.
love connecting with people. That's what charges me up as an extrovert. However, I do still need that solitude. I do still need that time alone. And so that's something I'm currently navigating is like a
Mm.
harmony of like solitude and social life. Because my social life right now is so just like potent and expansive and like it can be so easy for me to like hang out with people every day,
Hmm.
but I can't. I literally can't. Like it's just not energetically what's right for me, Like I need that time alone and in solitude. And so that's actually something that recently I've been navigating in the day to day is like making sure I'm making these allocated days for myself in my schedule that I do not socialize
Mm.
because otherwise I will.
Yeah.
I just like won't make that time because I love being social.
What do you do with all of these inputs that are around you then? With the interactions that you have, it could be social media. I can't imagine you watch much TV, things of that nature,
Yeah.
music. How do you navigate all of this and always find yourself coming back to just you as opposed to everything that is input into your life?
Yeah, 100%. It's a good question. I I feel that honestly I've just made it a priority and I've started to see the
Mm.
value in it. Because when we don't know why we're doing something, we don't know the intention of it, it's going to be really hard for us to do it. Because
Mhm.
again, our mind is going to want to keep us the same. And if we're always distracting ourselves, if we're always searching for something outside of us, if we're always feeling this need for like that external something, and we're not seeing the value of solitude and stillness and like nothingness,
Mhm.
we don't know why, we don't know the intention of it. We're just going to continue the pattern and we're going to just be living on autopilot and continuing to do these same patterns of maybe escaping or running or avoiding or procrastinating or distracting ourselves because that's what we've always known.
Mm.
But until we actually sit with ourselves and quiet that noise, that's when that truth can just become so much louder and we're truly able to realign our energy. And then once you do that, a few times, it's like you start to see so much value out of that. It's like that's your new intention. And that makes it that much easier to just continue to do that. And again, that's where the ego is
Mm.
beneficial because you can build these new patterns and habits. And that's how I've been able to. At first, it feels really uncomfortable. At first, it feels like, no, I need to distract myself. I need to get on my phone. I need to do this. I need to do that. Do. That's what our mind loves to do is do.
Mhm.
Doesn't like to be. Our ego
Mhm.
hates being, like literally, even though we're human beings. Like,
Mm.
yeah, it doesn't like to be. But
Yeah.
when you can quiet the noise and just be, that can become a new pattern. It can become a new habit,
Mm.
though, that your mind can start to create over time. It's going to feel really uncomfortable at first. That's why, like, do it a few times and start to notice, like, whoa, I feel like I really harnessed my energy more throughout the day. Wow, like I wasn't as like reactive or impulsive throughout the day. Wow, I was really able to like stay focused because I just like realigned my thoughts and my energy with what I wanted throughout the day, right?
Mm.
You start to see the intention and kind of the why behind it. And it makes it that much easier to just like make it a habit. You know what I mean?
Mhm. I know that we were talking before this and we were excited to have a conversation. And I know that this is just me asking you a bunch of questions. That is because I have so much that I am able to learn from you. Every time you say something, I'm able to just take something and be like, now I need to know this. Now I need to know this. Now I need to know this. Um, so if you need more back and forth, you just feel free to let me know. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I want to
Otherwise,
hear more about you too.
um, yeah, well, we can get to that. But first, the we need to know why you are specifically here.
Mm, okay. Yeah. I think back to what the original conversation was,
Mhm,
love.
mhm,
I am here to be a reflection and a reminder of the love that's
mhm,
within you and every single person on this earth.
mm,
I really feel that there's this heavy emphasis right now on
mhm,
remembering our true like our true essence, why we're here, our light, our love that's already within us, the divinity that's within us. There's
mhm,
this huge emphasis right now and this huge calling in my heart and soul to like be that reminder for people,
mhm,
whether that's in a coaching relationship, whether that's in like just day-to-day interactions with random people at the grocery store, whether
mhm,
that's, you know, in my friendships, in my family. Like, I am here to be a reflector and a reminder and a space holder for people to remember their love and light.
mm.
And yeah.
Now, why are we here?
To be the fullest expression of
Mm,
ourselves.
mm,
Because I really believe, so I was in Costa Rica by myself on a
mhm,
solo trip.
mhm,
And I was just really, I was on the like on the beach by
mhm,
myself at this completely like empty beach. It was
mhm,
just the ocean and me. And I was in complete solitude. And I was sitting on this beach for 4 hours, just completely. I left my phone in my villa so that I could just be like completely zoned in on myself.
mhm,
And what kept coming through for me was God just wants to experience life. God just wants to experience life fully
mhm,
through all of these different vessels
mm,
and all of these different expressions. And there's so many different forms of expression and being. There's music, there's
mhm,
dancing, there's singing, there's speaking, there's communication, there's love, there's like so many different forms of expression, right? And we are all of the different expressions of God.
mhm.
Just how we have all of these ways we can express ourselves,
Yep.
God has all of these ways he's expressing himself through us. And I just like that was so loud and clear that like we are here to experience, we are here to love, we are here to be this vessel of love and just allow the fullest expression of ourselves to truly come through. And that's the purpose of life. We make the meaning. We make the meaning through just being the fullest expression of us. Because in that, we're going to naturally do the things we love. We're going to naturally do the things we're passionate about. We're going to naturally help people with our gifts that we're naturally born with
Mm,
because we're tapping into our truth and what that means, what truth is to us as individuals.
mm,
And the uniqueness, the differences are actually what make life so special. And that's what I really was so detached from for so long, was like this uniqueness of me and who I
mhm,
am. And I thought that in order for me to feel love, to feel acceptance, to feel divine or whatever, it was like I had
mhm.
to be the same as everyone else. And that's actually like it's the opposite. Your uniqueness is your gift.
Yeah.
And yeah.
When we look at um becoming the fullest expression of ourselves, and that is God living through us, where I'm not sure if or how you would answer this. Where did God come from?
That's a good question. I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
honestly, nobody actually knows.
Mm-mm.
Only God knows, right?
Mm.
It's like there
Mhm.
are so many things. And this is what I was just having a conversation with a friend about this the other day. It's like
Mm.
she was asking me all of these questions that were like
Mm.
so deep, right? And I was
Mhm.
like, what if we don't need to know?
Yeah.
Like there's this human urge to like need to know
Mhm.
everything,
Yeah.
right? And it's like all that truly matters is the fact that we're here right now
Mm.
in this moment. Like this moment, the now is all that ever exists.
Yep.
And we can continue to ponder as like, where did we come from? And like all of these thoughts, right? That just continue to take us down this rabbit hole. Or we could surrender and be fully here now and just experience life to the fullest right here, right now. Not dwelling on the future and what's going to happen, or not like dwelling in the past. It's like here now is where I feel like God is always existing. It's just in the now. So that's what I found to be like super helpful when it comes to questions like that, because I truly feel like nobody actually knows. Nobody actually does.
When we look at this and just the present, what do you do for yourself in terms of what you want the future to look like, who you want to become, goals, things of that nature? What do you do with all of this futuristic things that you don't know?
Yeah, totally. I feel like honestly becoming, like being that person that you're wanting to be, right? In your reality now. So it's, it is good to have goals and a vision for yourself, but being that person that's aligned with that right here, right now. It's not something that's separate from you. It's a matter of like, it's not what you're doing, it's who you're being, right? And the energy that you're embodying. And so when you're aligning your energy with what you want for your life externally, it's naturally going to manifest because you're an energetic match for it. Whereas if we're constantly separating ourselves from our vision, from our goals, and feeling like, okay, I need to achieve this and it's separate from me, and it kind of creates this like separation and identity to where this feels like a separate identity. But you have to create a new identity right here, right now, that's aligned with the vision that you're wanting, if that makes sense. Because all you can really do is focus in on your energy right here, right now. And in that, you're going to naturally take aligned actions because you're coming from that energy,
What would you, how would you describe your identity?
My identity. Love and light and being a vessel for God's love and light. And a leader in Maya.
there's like the I am construct, and I think we get caught up in the I am construct of I am XYZ, and I don't think it's something that it's so much deeper than like just a surface level topic, and hard to and difficult to comprehend at times. I don't know where I was going with that, but that's okay. I just wanted to bring that up. What do you want in the future? What do you want your life to look like?
Honestly, I just want more of what I already have. Like I already, and this is kind of this can be kind of a polarizing thing to say, because I feel like our society is always pushing for more, bigger, and like, yes, like growth mentality is so important, right? However, if we're not here now and we're constantly just searching for that growth and like never actually enjoying where we're at, it's a constant rat race to never feeling fulfilled. And for the first time in my life, I would say this year, like 2023, I have felt just so much fulfillment in every aspect of my life that I just want more of it. And in that, if like I just continue to expand and grow and like just continue to receive more of what I already have, my life is exactly the way I want it to be. Yeah.
Walk me through a little bit about what you do in terms of coaching and helping others. What are all of the modalities that you use, and how do you know which modality is going to be the most beneficial for that person in that time?
Yeah, 100%. So I like to say that I'm not a healer. I hold space for others to heal themselves. And in that, I hold space. I literally ask super deep questions and know what questions to ask in order to truly lead others to seeing that all of their answers are already within.
Mm.
I am not somebody who's just going to give a plan and tell them exactly what to do. They know, like my clients know what to do, and I hold them accountable to that.
Yeah.
However, they always have their answers within. And in my sessions with my clients, that's exactly what we're uncovering is their truth. I'm not telling them anything. I am teaching, I'm throwing in like little nuggets, you know.
Yeah.
However, it's mostly them just uncovering exactly what they want, who they want to be, and who they don't want to be anymore, what they need to let go of. And so it's a lot of breakthrough by them simply just going in and facing themselves, facing their truth, and starting to uncover again that natural true essence, them coming back home to themselves by peeling back these layers and releasing, letting go of what no longer serves them, and choosing the life and the identity and the version of them they truly want and how they want to show up in the world. And so that's what my sessions are really like based around. And I do give like aligned action lists that, you know, are whatever we talked about in the session. A lot of the time, again, they are the ones saying like, I want to implement meditation and I want to dance more and I want to go on walks and I want to do this. And so that's what I'll also put in there, these things that they claimed that they wanted to do. I wasn't the one telling them. They wanted to. And I'll give them resources for that. I'll teach them more about it. I'll give them, you know, tools and teach them and expand their mind a little bit when it comes to these things and modalities. But it was their choice. It wasn't me telling them what to do. And so that's kind of what makes me different, I feel like, is I truly help people come back to their truth and their authentic expression rather than them or me just telling them what they should do based on my experience. It's more of them, me just being a mirror and a reflection point for them to go deeper in on themselves.
How did you get to this? When you first started coaching, what was it like in terms of how you were able to ask questions, and how did it evolve to what it is now?
Yeah. So I actually started as a personal trainer and nutrition coach, which is entirely different than what I do now. And I loved it. I loved fitness. I loved nutrition, and I took more of a holistic route too. So I didn't just do like macros and a plan. I really helped the women that I was helping like tap into what their body needs and like kind of take more of an intuitive route and really just focus on health. So it was really powerful, and I loved that style of coaching as well. And I feel like that is an essential thing for the world, like nutrition and fitness coaches and having those plans and stuff like that. But for me, I always knew that like term path, like that wasn't something that I wanted to do forever. Right. And I knew that I wanted to do deeper work, because the deeper in I went on myself, and I started to uncover these layers and starting to recognize that there's a lot more than just the body and optimizing the body. The mind and the spirit and the soul are almost even more important for you to optimize your body, right? Because when you're in an energetic alignment, mind, body, and soul, your body's going to be a natural reflection of that. Your skin is going to reflect that. Your body's going to reflect that. Your health is going to reflect that when you're energetically aligned internally. And you're showing up for yourself and you're feeling good internally, and you don't have all these stuck emotions and traumas and things of that nature. So the deeper I went on myself, I had hired multiple mentors, but I had also gone through a lot of these modalities myself, like somatic breath work and meditation, and just consistent showing up for myself in all of these ways in my mind, body, and soul. I started to realize, okay, I do not want to just practice like nutrition and fitness. Like I really want it to be a mind, body, soul optimization program for people. And again, like I had mentioned earlier, I was searching outside of me my entire life. And that was the biggest takeaway for me, was recognizing I was the medicine. And I didn't want my clients to be relying on me for the answers. I didn't want them to think I was the medicine. So I'm here to remind them that they are the medicine for themselves.
Mm,
And that's kind of what my practice shifted to, because before it felt like, okay, these people are coming to me and I need to give them a plan. I need to tell
mm,
them exactly what to do.
mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, you're telling yourself what to do, girlfriend.
Yep.
I'm just here to hold space and hold you
Mm,
accountable to that and give you more knowledge and expand your mind. But it's you. You're the
mm,
medicine. And yeah, I think that these modalities such as breath work and meditation and journaling and
mhm,
just implementing these routines and practices for yourself and this time for yourself, that's where you can truly find that, because you're
mm.
really just going in, and that's what the journey is all about, you know?
People that, let's say someone listens to this and they say, wow, I don't believe any of this.
Mhm.
Does it matter to you?
No.
What would you say to them if they came up and said, Maya, you're full of shit? Like how do you approach this?
Yeah. I mean, the truth is, everybody has their own right to
Hmm.
their own beliefs and their own
Hmm.
ways of being.
Hmm.
And so, somebody else's ways of being, if they're not aligned with me, that doesn't
Hmm.
affect me. And if
Hmm.
somebody confronts me about it, doesn't affect me either, because I
Hmm.
know my truth. I know my way of being, my way
Hmm.
of living. And again, I'm here to just be a reminder and a reflector of that. I'm not here to convince anybody.
Yep.
I'm just here to reflect and remind. And the people that are aligned with that and are aligned with me naturally gravitate towards me and naturally want to be supported even
Find
further.
you.
Right. Yeah.
Mm,
So I would say it doesn't really affect me at all.
okay. What are we putting this podcast on mine or both of ours? I know we had chat about that briefly.
We can do both. It's up to
It's
you.
it's up to you. I'm just asking mid podcast here with the
Yeah.
direction that I want to go next.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'm totally cool either way. Like, it's up to you. I can post it on mine. I don't have a
Mhm.
podcast scheduled this week, so I can also post it on mine. But if you want to just post it on yours, totally cool too.
Okay, interesting. I think that we should transition then, and you can ask me a couple of questions.
Yes. Okay,
Yep.
good. Awesome. So tell me what your definition of love is.
Maya Allen.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
all. My definition of love is freedom.
Hmm.
And it's something that when you finally just know what it feels like, um, it's such a hard question. I shouldn't have started with this. I didn't know that this is going to come back to me. It's just freedom to be yourself, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I think it is.
Yeah. Totally. I love that. It's
Mhm.
like this inner, it's an inner thing,
Yeah,
right? Because then it just reflects into everything you do
yeah.
and everything you perceive. I love that. And yeah, tell me more about your journey and your story and like where this growth and expansion journey began for you.
Okay. Actually, I want to ask you a question again.
Okay.
um, what would you do for how would you help someone that wants to have a relationship with God, but doesn't know how in a sense, or has trouble like they believe it at a surface level, but they don't have that knowing.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. I mean, again, I would say quieting the noise, because there's
Mm,
so much noise,
mhm,
like so much noise. And a lot of my clients come to me with this exact feeling. They're like,
mhm,
I want to have a relationship with God, but I just don't know where to start because I have
mhm,
so much religious trauma and I have all of these beliefs around it and all these things. And it's really common, like
mhm,
really common. And I feel like
mhm,
it's not talked about enough,
mhm,
especially when it comes to like religious trauma. I feel like that's a huge thing that people hold on to, and they're
mhm,
too afraid to like discover their own truth or their own individual connection with God because they feel like they have to mold into a certain way of
Mm,
going about it, if that makes sense.
mm,
And that is really, really common and not talked about enough. And
mhm,
so it's kind of uncovering first. Like if I'm in a coaching relationship with this person or just like in
mhm,
a deep conversation, it's like uncovering those layers. Like what has been holding you back in the first place from that? You know what I
okay.
mean? Because a lot of the time it's like fear or
Mm,
these old beliefs that aren't actually yours, right?
mm,
And so we kind of have to uncover what's not, like what's holding you back and blocking you from that connection in order to truly tap back into love.
okay.
And like wanting that.
So modern day religion, and when we look at what it is, how can we improve it?
I mean, my honest opinion
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
like not having religion.
Okay.
Like that's just my own viewpoint though. Like I definitely see the value and the purpose behind religion because it brings
Mhm.
community, it brings this oneness, which is
Mm,
what we want, right? Because
mm,
we are one. And so
mhm,
when you feel understood and like you have a community that just gets it,
mhm,
that's what we all want. We
mm,
all want that. And so that was the purpose of like religion in the first place, was to bring people together and have this like united truth so that
mhm,
we all feel like we understand one another. However, it actually kind of did the opposite and
mhm,
started to create separations and started to separate the religions and starting to see others as like separate from you if they don't follow the religion. And so it's
mhm,
actually creating more separateness within our
mhm,
society to have these things rather
mhm,
than just having this individual knowing and connection and starting to focus in. Like I feel like it was taught to kind of go about it in more of a spirituality sense where like it's just open. There's not like
mhm,
all of these rules and like heavy structure and like
mm.
separateness. I
Yeah.
think the basis of like oneness is really what we're all again searching for.
Yep.
And so to come back to that would be so healing for the planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What about like, um, what do we do with people that have lost their way, or there's different satanic type of rituals and followers, in a sense, that entire realm that is just opposite of God? Does
Mhm.
that exist in our world in your eyes?
That's a good question. So I actually, so there's obviously the law of duality, right?
Mhm,
Which everything is like on a spectrum.
mhm,
And even when it comes to, because I believe, and I just read this book called Existential Kink. Have you
mhm.
heard of it or read it?
I have not read it. I believe you posted about it. It looked
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And this book really kind of led me to this like deeper level of acceptance or just seeing the world for like what it is, I
Mhm,
guess. And I really, again, feel like a lot of these things that feel heavy or dark or like dense or whatever, it's just like constructed by fear, right?
mm,
Which is the human mind.
mhm,
And I feel like the only evil in this world is literally just the identification with the egoic mind.
mm,
Like that's how we build ego. That's our ego, evil. That's how
yeah,
we build this separateness. That's how we build this war and this chaos and like all of these things. It's like this identification with the egoic mind. And so for
mhm,
us to all transcend and
mhm,
truly come back to just our conscious self and our heart and soul, yeah, I feel like everything that isn't love is just an illusion of the mind, is kind of where I'm getting with
mm.
that. Like
Okay,
it's just this illusion we've created. And in reality, we just all have to come back to love.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. When we look at everyone coming to love and really transcending into that divine consciousness, okay? What would the world look like if that is how everyone showed up?
Mhm. Yeah, I've had a lot of like visuals and dreams and like experiences even
Mm,
of just like that also being a part of my divine purpose is like
mm,
bringing this earth to heaven, essentially.
mhm,
Like heaven meaning higher level of consciousness, being able to
mhm,
see the divine in all of us, being fully embodied in love.
mhm,
Because if the planet was fully embodied in love, again, it would be a peaceful, expansive, just loving experience. A
mm,
new earth. There's so many different words that are like kind of thrown around for that, like a new earth or heaven on earth or
mhm,
whatever the case might be. But it would literally bring this earth back to just a peaceful harmony that I feel, a lot of these religious beliefs and a lot of spiritual beliefs and things of that nature, they all kind of like steer to. We're
mm,
all just trying to make this world a better place,
mhm,
right? And in that, I feel like the only way we can is by truly raising the consciousness and the vibration of this planet. And
mm,
again, it's like that's a big reason why I do the work that I do
yeah,
is I'm guiding people back to themselves, which is love. And in that, you're raising your consciousness and your vibration.
yeah,
And that creates ripple effects. Like the
mm,
ocean wouldn't be the ocean without the drops of water. And each drop of water creates ripples,
mm,
right? When you start to transcend and you start to raise your vibration, you start to raise your consciousness, that impacts all of the people around you and that you come in contact with as well.
mhm.
And so, yeah, I feel like we could literally create heaven on earth.
Wow. How how will we be able to do it though? I know that there's you, there are others that have this, they know that they're meant to do similar things as you.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get to the point where everyone is impacted by this and what you do and bringing everyone back to that baseline of love?
Mm. So there's a big like reason that we're able to heal, we're able to
Mm,
evolve, is
mm,
we have to bring light to the darkness.
okay.
We don't completely get rid of, quote unquote, the darkness,
Mm-hmm.
right? We accept it. We
Mm,
accept the full spectrum. Healing is not about fixing the
yep.
earth, the world, the person, the self.
Yep.
It's about accepting.
Mm,
And so when we can come back to this place of acceptance, of oneness, of what is the present moment and the isness of the present moment, when we can come back to this overall acceptance and love for everything that is, the full spectrum of duality, there would be a lot less, or if any, war and separation and fighting and chaos and evil, because in reality that's all just created from, again, the egoic mind.
mm,
And us just constantly over time, I feel like this is actually like happening though. It's like there
mm,
is this wave of awakening and a wave of
mm-hmm,
this like raising of the consciousness that's happening right now. And it's just a matter of time before it just continues to expand throughout the whole world, because again, we're creating these ripples.
mm,
We're creating this butterfly effect through the world by us doing our own work on ourselves, on our own healing journey. It's like that is how we do it, is starting with our individual journeys. And in that, I mean, in my own experience, right now
mm-hmm,
I'm here since I did the work on myself and continue to do so. Now I'm wanting to share that with the world too.
mm.
And so it starts with you as the individual. And I feel like in that, it just continues to expand and expand and expand, because again, we are all one. It's just a matter of remembering that.
Yeah. You blow my mind every time I talk to you. 100%. 100%.
Oh, you
Yeah.
too.
Me.
But yes, tell me more about you
I,
now. No more questions.
okay. What did you want to know? Go back to those. Uh, where did you want to begin?
Yes. So tell me about your story and your journey and like what began this growth and expansion journey for you.
Hmm. Um, when I was in school, like high school and college, I always said that I knew who I was, and I was just a little lost trying to find my way. I just mirrored other people and what they did because I thought it was fun, or it would make me some money. Or that's what worked for them, so I assumed it would work for me. Um,
Mm,
and then I started to get into trouble with things, and I felt, why does this keep happening to me? And I couldn't understand why. I didn't understand why I kept getting arrested and why I kept drinking and abusing all of these things. And then I was still into fitness when I did that. And then as I continued to go through that, I was like, there's gotta be more than this. And I still didn't understand how the mind worked, and what the mind was, and what the body does, and what our soul is. I hadn't been questioning these things.
yeah.
Um, Really, once I started this podcast, I started to talk to more and more people, and the more people that I talked to, I was like, they think so differently than I do. How do I get to that level?
Mm,
And I was chasing this level of like, how do I start to think like that? Like, how do I actually make changes? And then as I started to look deeper into myself, I was like, whoa, I didn't know that all of these beliefs that I have about myself and about the world actually dictate, or at least help dictate, what I do. And
mm,
that's when I started to dive deeper into, what do I actually believe about myself? What do I actually believe about the world? And all of these events and experiences that happened for me, I realize and understand that I wouldn't have got to sit here and speak with you unless those had happened.
yeah.
Um, so that's what sent me on this journey of, I'll call it, personal development, spirituality, self growth, all intertwined into one, and finding why I'm here and what I'm here to do.
Mm. I love that. I love that. I'm so proud of
Mm,
you.
thank you.
Yes. And same question you asked me, why are you here?
Mhm. I do not know yet.
Mm,
I am here right now in this moment for me. Um, I believe I'm here to help people see and understand that the answers that they're looking for, they have. And I don't know a better way to word it for now, but I know that I'm here to help them, to help and be of service to others, to become more and become who they actually want to be at their core. Not all these like different projections and everything that's been instilled upon them and programmed into them. What do they actually enjoy? What actually fulfills you, and how can you get to that place?
yeah. I
Yeah,
love that.
that
That's
real purpose that everyone is striving for. Um, it shows up in different ways, and how can I help you the most? By, again, like the same thing with my coach, it's a lot of questions. And I know that I'm continuing to get better and better at that, by asking the right questions. What does this actually mean to them? What do they believe about their answer? What do they believe um about their answer, and about the world? And how can I just show them, hey, this is connecting here. These are both of your answers, and this connects. And this could be why you are believing this. This could be why you're doing this. This could be why. So I believe I'm here to guide people. I'm just not exactly sure how.
Mm, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, I'm proud of you. And I feel like the world needs more of that too. More people. Because again, it's like my purpose doesn't just show up in my career,
Mhm.
it shows up in everything I do,
Mm,
all the interactions with people. And just throughout my life, it's like, how can I be of service to love today?
mm.
It just
Yeah.
goes so far when you're just constantly of service and
Mm,
also willing to receive, right? It's very
mhm,
important that you have a harmony of both.
mhm,
Um, because we can definitely swing the pendulum a little too far to where we're like only giving,
mhm.
and that, yeah, it
Yeah,
never ends up feeling
yeah,
great in the long term. You usually burn out, right?
yeah.
So definitely a harmony with that. And yeah, I guess too, what is your vision for your life? Like, what are your goals and what is your vision?
When I look, I just want to know and have my vision for my life is just all internal. And how can I become and have this energy that I know is inside of me that is showed up here and there, but how can I have it all the time?
Mm, yeah, like energy optimization.
In a way, I guess. I don't like when I look at like my vision and things like that, I immediately think of a lot of the external things.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
don't
who do
like
you need to be? Who do you need to be in order to have these external things that are maybe, because it's okay to have like external
mhm,
visions, right? But
mhm.
like, who do you need to be in order to achieve that?
That's that's just the process of like what I'm doing on the daily basis is this version of myself that I can see that has been sacrificing so much. Um, I think that is the state and that is the process that the season of life that I'm in is this learning how to say no to all of these things that I used to believe I enjoyed. And
Mm,
it's under it's like for me, like how do I continue to sacrifice and say, okay, this this person that I need to show up as, what do they need to do? How can they actually give more love and not just react to things? Like how can I show up and give as much as I can?
mhm,
That's the version of myself that I try to embody each day.
mhm. I love that. Yeah, I love that so much. And where are you at in your connection with God and your divinity? And yeah.
Um, I am in the state of I believe in God, and it still makes my nervous system uncomfortable to say that.
Mm,
And I don't have a deep knowing.
mm. Yeah,
Um, but I really want to.
yeah.
And I continue to search for some type of way that it will just be shown to me, but I have not gotten to that point.
Mm,
And there's this resistance there.
yeah. Yeah, and I don't wanna, like, turn this into a coaching session.
That's okay. That's all
But,
right.
like, yeah, like, what do you feel blocks you from that? Like, what about it in your nervous system?
Mhm,
Because when your nervous system feels, like, dysregulated or something, it's usually
mhm,
because of this need to protect, right, or fear.
mhm.
So is there something there that's, like, maybe a belief or a way of going about your connection with God that you feel like is kinda blocking you from that right now?
It's the opinions of others.
Mm,
There's not a specific person that comes to my mind, but for some reason, when I say I believe in God, um, when how I grew up was Christian or something of that nature, and I just wasn't into it. Um, and then it's only been this year that I've said, wow, there is God is here with me. It just hasn't been shown to me. Um,
mm,
and I feel that I want I want it to be shown to me in order to have that deeper knowing. And so
yeah.
it's the thoughts of around other people and what they will think of me, and this upbringing of this is not who I was when I was growing up.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, and that's kind of the work of the mind is
Mhm,
like it's hard for us to trust and believe in the things we can't see,
mhm,
right? Like physically can't see. However, that's the definition of faith
mm,
is to trust in the things you can't see.
mhm,
And in reality, like for me, as I deepen my relationship with God, it's like I start to realize God is everywhere. Like I was saying, like it's hard for me not to see God in every single person that I speak to, in
mm,
every single interaction, and all of the synchronicities and miracles and just these experiences. The experience of life itself is God,
mm.
right? And
Yep.
so again, I feel like what was really separating me from that was this belief growing up that God is a man in the sky.
Mm,
And so we create this like physical human
mhm,
identification of
mhm.
God.
Yep.
And it's like, that's not what it is, though. Like, it's just this energy, it's this life force, it's this
Mhm,
unconditional love, right? You can't see feelings, you
mhm,
can't see energy,
mhm,
but you can feel it and you can
mm,
embody it and you can know it. Just like with me, the way you describe
mm,
me,
mhm,
it's a feeling, right?
mm,
That you're feeling.
mhm,
The same thing goes with God. And it's just like continuing to tap into that energy, that knowing, and just that connection within yourself. Over time, you start to realize God is just pure love. And
mm.
that's all like
Yeah.
just pure love, unconditional love. And you're always supported, you're always guided. And that's where the faith comes in of just trusting and being able to surrender and knowing that you're co creating with the divine always. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I had been cert I would say I still am, you talk about embodying that energy, um, all the time, every day, and how that shows up, and I think part of me, at least, is searching for this one moment, in a sense, of everything will click.
Yeah. Totally, 100%.
You
Yeah,
know?
I think that a lot of people do, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm,
And yeah, I mean, for me, my experience was definitely different because what
mm,
really led me to the knowing was my ayahuasca journey.
mhm,
So, like, obviously, ayahuasca is not for everybody at
mm,
all. Definitely
mhm,
need to be called to it. But
mhm,
there's so many ways that you can just tap into that divinity again within yourself. I feel like just continuing to quiet the noise,
mm,
continuing to sit with yourself, continuing to just observe, become
okay,
loving awareness. That is like truly what I always share with clients as well is just like the art of the now, the present
mm,
moment, and quieting the noise. That is where God is the loudest.
mm,
And the
okay.
presence of God can be like truly felt, truly, because there's just not all of these distractions and noise and things that our mind loves to
There
attach
are
to.
there are many distractions, I understand that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Totally.
we can I have my last question for you.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you feeling over there? Good?
I'm
I
good. Yeah,
don't
I definitely
okay.
need some food soon.
Okay. Yeah. Let me get to my last question for you at least.
Yeah.
So last guest left you a question. We were just talking, Kimberly Kesting left you this question. Okay.
Okay.
What has been the biggest life hack that you've experienced in your life that no one knows about or that you have not told anyone about?
Mm. See, this is really hard because I'm such an expressive person. I tell
Yep.
everybody everything.
Mhm.
Like there's nothing that I really keep to myself at this point. Um, I don't have like literally any secrets. Like straight up. Like even with like my best friends, like they
Yep.
know literally everything.
It's not even like, you found a new way to cut a lemon or something.
Okay.
you know, there's nothing. Hey,
Okay,
it's
it's like
okay.
simple things.
It's
Okay.
okay. It's okay if you don't have anything.
Let me think. Rotisserie chickens. Period.
That's your answer. That's
Yeah,
rotis.
rotisserie chickens. Because I
Okay.
literally I love meat. Like I love chicken, beef, whatever.
Yep.
But I do not like cooking it at all. And
Okay.
so rotisserie chickens, the way they're cooked, they're already made for you. Whole Foods has like organic, like high quality rotisserie chickens. It's a hack for life.
Just
And
yep.
yeah.
Just leave it at just leave it at rotisserie chicken, period. Yeah. That's the best way to do it. So yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's so funny.
All right.
That'll be the
Beautiful.
title of this podcast is rotisserie.
Rotisserie chicken, period. Period spelled out as
Yes.
well. That's perfect. A lot of people will listen because they'll be
Yes,
curious.
for sure.
All right. Where can we find you and
Oh,
connect with you, Maya?
yes. So you can connect with me at _Maya_Allen_ on all my social medias on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. And then my website is themindbodybalance.com. And you can register for a free coaching session. That's where you're really just going to find what I do more in depth. We can go into more of like a personalized session, completely free. I love to just meet the people that are interested in working with me beforehand, to truly get a feel for what they're going through and see if we're a good fit. Or if you just need some guidance, I'm here for you. So you can reach out anytime. Yeah, so that's me.
All right. That's amazing. All right. We'll end it there. Thank you, Maya.
Well, thank you so much. I'll talk to you later.